This moves us to item number 11 on our agenda, the superintendent's report. Dr. Ross?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board and our community, to our executive staff. Thank you. I'd just like to, as a transition and recognition of the Irmo High School basketball team for their 4A state championship. If you know anything about Irmo, Tim Whipple is a name that lives long in that community. And we've talked about a lot of the changes in Irmo and how those changes could affect certain measurements and outcomes. But if you think about it, as was read, he has 11 state championship appearances with his first state championship, I think it's the 1990-91 team, and what Irmo was in 1990-91, and winning it in 22-23, and what Irmo is today. And how do you get excellence over 40 years? And sitting down with Coach Whipple, who's very modest, humble man, it was interesting. He says, my standards have never changed over that time, right? Whether coaching B.J. Mackey or Justin Mackey, his son. But he says, it's my job to figure out how to make each child successful. And I think it's not the X's and O's, it's what you see right out there in that hallway. It's a mentor of young men. And I think that's a great lesson we have right here in our community, as someone who can find a child at their level and move them to their expectations. And I think that's what we celebrate today, not just on the basketball court, but in life. So we are so blessed and honored to have the leadership of Tim Whipple. And that brings us into why we exist. Our vision, our mission, our outcome is to do exactly what we see from those social workers, from our coaches, our staff, and our teachers. That's to love and grow our students each and every day. And we focus on academic, social, and emotional growth in order to get those educational outcomes in a safe, secure, diverse, and equitable learning environment. That we have a strategic plan that looks at getting those two outcomes of love and grow, that every student feels loved in our schools, and every student has demonstrated academic growth outcomes. And we measure these through 4 performance goals of school climate, teacher and administrator quality, student achievement, and gifted and talented strategies. And that our job is to stay focused on academic growth and development, So we measure it, and those measurements are through the proviso of our formative assessments, which are the MAP tests that we do in the fall and the winter, looking at those growths of the students who are off target, and if we were to take the SC Ready on the time of the assessment, and those who are on level. And we're working each and every day to meet those challenges so that we can get all of our students on grade level. We also track our graduation rate, and our goal, our strategic plan goal, is 90.28. I think if Ms. Waters tracks this each and every week with our secondary teams, we know that there are certain students that are not on diploma tracks. I think, the best we could get this year would be 90.3%. So we're tracking to get 100% of every eligible student to graduate on time within 4 years. And so we use this. We'll have a new model at our next meeting that looks at daily grades. So it'll give us a more accurate picture of our graduation report. We are also gearing up for the WIN test. This is the career assessment as we look to make sure that not only are students graduate on time, but are they prepared for the realities of what happens after graduation. Are they ready for the marketplace? Are they college or career ready? Right now, we have at our last assessment in January 543 students who are neither college and career ready. We're working each and every day to make sure that they're prepared when we do the administration, you'll see a decrease in this number. So we're going to track this as our school board to ensure that we're meeting the strategic plan goals, that we're focused on the growth and development of every student. And so at this time, Madam Chair, members of the board and the community, I'd like to turn it over to our Chief of Academics Administration, Ms. Anna Miller, for her academic report.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ross. Good evening, Madam Chair, board members, and Dr. Ross. We're excited to be here tonight to give you a brief history and overview of our magnet programs, to talk just a little bit about our application process, as we just completed that for next year's magnet choices, and we'll also touch on our funding and future possibilities. There is no one better to tell you all about this than our wonderful Director of Magnet Programs, Ms. Sarah Wheeler.
Thank you, and thank you. I'm so glad you came before me, so to get me, okay, and I just go to the right.
And you
correct?
just go to the right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Madam Chairperson, Honorable Board, Dr. Ross, it is a pleasure to be here and talk about my passion, which is magnet schools. So again, I will start after my introduction. I just want you all to focus on this picture because it's the epitome of what we do. We love and grow our children, and these are all our own students, and they were actually, with parent permission, on billboards during our magnet season. So it's your choice, your voice, and we love this picture. I know some of you are new on the board, and I want to just give you a brief review and update about our programs. Actually, magnet schools have become part of our culture over the last several years. We now have 15 different programs at 11 school sites. We have whole school models, and we have programs within a school model. We have 7 certified magnet schools, which is a national process. We have merit award-winning magnet schools. We have student poster contest winners on the national level, and we've had a magnet scholarship winner last year from Dutch Fork High School. Our elementary magnet schools and programs are Dutch Fork Elementary, Academy of Environmental Sciences, they all have long names, Harbison West Escalaris Academy, magnet program within a school. That's an example of that model. H.E. Corley Leadership and Montessori Magnet, Leaphart Elementary STEAM Magnet, Nursery Roads Arts Magnet, Seven Oaks Elementary Media Magnet. And as you can see, these are 3 that were recently recognized this past year, and they will be recognized again at the Magnet Schools of America National Conference in April, and then we hope to have them come here so you can recognize them. Our middle school magnets, Irmo Middle International Academic Magnet with the I Am Escalaris Academy located there. Our high school programs, Dutch Fork High School STEM program, again, that is a school within a school. Irmo High School International School for the Arts, this is Escalaris, is located there, and I will talk about that pathway in one moment. The International Baccalaureate, IB, Diploma and Career-Related Programs, and Spring Hill High School Career Pathways Magnet. Just to give you a little review, that actually magnets started in 2005 here in District 5, and that was with the STEM Magnets program at Dutch Fork High School. That same year, Irmo High School became a World Certified International Baccalaureate Diploma program. Then in 2008, the Escalaris Academy started at Harbison West Elementary, and then in 2008 as well, the LEAP, or STEM magnet, was at Leaphart Elementary School. 2012, H.E. Corley Leader in Me magnet was established, and these programs were all district-initiated magnet programs. The expansion of magnet programs came with our first funding that we got, which was $10.7 million. And with that magnet funding source, we were able to put in 5 programs which was, the project was Project Access. And that's when we put in Seven Oaks Media Magnet, Irmo International Academic Middle School Magnet, Irmo International Magnet School of the Arts, Dutch Fork Elementary Environmental Sciences Magnet, and Spring Hill. Then we grew I Am Escalaris because we wanted to provide a pathway for our families for a gifted track. So those students that went to Harbison West and the Escalaris Academy, parents were eager to see if we could continue that magnet. So we phased in I Am Escalaris at Irmo Middle School because the I Am is International Academic Magnet, and we did that in 2018. Then we completed that pathway in 2021 with This Is Escalaris at Irmo High School International School for the Arts. So you can see we have the Escalaris pathway. Students apply. They have the option of being identified and selected to attend grades 2 through 5 at Harbison West. Then they move into the 6th grade I Am Escalaris 6 through 8. This Is Escalaris 9-10 at Irmo High School, which feeds into the IB Diploma Program and the IB Careers-related program. And then we all have a wonderful celebration at graduation. Our application and selection process that we hold every year, we have an online application for choice and magnet, so it's one application. You must provide necessary information for certain criteria-based programs. STEM, for instance, at Dutch Fork High School has certain criteria to be eligible to be selected for that program. And Escalaris also has prerequisites and criteria for identification. Then we have our choice and magnet programs that use a random lottery for selection, and that is most of our programs. The criteria-based magnets are an exception, and selection is based on qualification. All notifications come through the magnet office, and what we did to help our community a few years ago is magnet used to be that you were accepted and you could remain to that highest grade without having to reapply each year. But at that time, we also had schools open to choice, and you would have to reapply each year. So we changed that to make it easier on our community, that once you are accepted at a school open to choice, you can remain there until that highest grade of that school. A quick magnet review of our most recent magnet season, which closed at the end of January. Then we got all of our lists together, and in February sent those rosters to the schools, and now we're in the process of getting everyone registered. We had total applications, 1,092. First choice, 801 applicants got their first choice, 31 their second choice, 89 declined their placement, and there's 93 remaining in the applicant pool. This slide was done just a few weeks back, and as each day goes, we don't have that many in the applicant pool anymore. So as space becomes available, we continuously move students into open slots. So that just lets you know that the process, for the most part, most students get their first choice. This is an interesting fact I think you all would like to see. The impact of Spring Hill High School, because it is a non-zone school, and we have applicants come in, and it's a random lottery, and you can see for the most part, Chapin High School, 132 students attend Spring Hill. From the Dutch Fork High School zone, 104, and from the Irmo High School zone, 103. And that includes 9th and 10th grade placement. So I think it's an interesting fact that you see it's pretty well balanced, most coming from Chapin, then Dutch Fork, then Irmo. This is a quick review. I mentioned before that we were able to put in and expand our magnets through a federal funding of Magnet Schools Assistance Program. The 2013 project access was $10.3 million for 3 years. And then in 2017, we put in the 4 programs that we refer to as our Discover 5 magnet schools, and that was with $13.7 million for 5 years. The grant changed over that time period from being a 3-year grant. They realized a lot of change could not take place within 3 years, so they extended it to 5 years. Magnet School Next Steps, we do have another 2023 opportunity that we're excited about, and one would be with Seven Oaks Elementary, and it says significant revision. And if you remember up there, they were put in place in the 2019 Magnet Project Access. But as a media magnet back in 2013, things have changed dramatically in the past 10 years. At the time, we didn't have one-to-one, for instance, with devices. Now everyone does. So a lot of the unique features that they offered back in 2013 really no longer exist, and it's not as much of a draw anymore. Plus, and I believe our principal is even here tonight, his demographics have changed. They've got a very, very international population, which is quite exciting. And even if you go there now, they have the different countries, and they change them out each year where kids go to school there, and it's always changing. So with that in mind, we were going to write to significantly revise it and make it a global international elementary school to feed into Irmo Middle, that again is International Academic Magnet, and then into the International Baccalaureate program at Irmo High School, giving a good feeder pattern for global international studies. And when the slides were made, we were still in discussion, but we're very excited because it seems as if Harbison West is going to be a really good candidate also to write for federal funding. And it's a very exciting, you know, Escalaris Academy is there that serves an academically gifted track from grades 2 through 5. The model we're looking at for Harbison West is called the GT model. But the gifted context there is that all kids have gifts and talents. And the premise of the whole school model and philosophy is you identify those talents and grow those children, whether it be athletic, it could be music, it could be leadership, it could be academic. So that gives them their identity, it gives choice and voice to the community, to the students. It lets them grow their own strengths, and we help them be successful. And good friends of mine that are in Wake County, North Carolina, said those were the backbones of all of their original magnet programs, because all children have gifts and talents, and parents love that, and it gives kids a great opportunity. So we're excited about that opportunity coming forward. And going back here to give you an example of some of the activities our students are constantly involved with, and we love and grow our students. Any questions?
Do we have any questions? Ms. Huddle.
I was curious what advantages the IB program may have for kids entering college or other applications.
The IB program is very well known internationally as well as nationally, and students that go there, it educates the whole child, and it also teaches them how to study. They have a course called Theory of Knowledge, which is how do you study to study. They look at themselves amidst the whole global society, and actually they don't take their IB diploma test until after they graduate, but if they're candidates and they apply to go to whatever school, they get points at a lot of colleges just for being IB candidates. And that is a great question, and what I would love to do is get some information and bring back of the actual statistics of the number of students that are IB candidate students when they graduate high school and the schools that they do get accepted to.
Anyone else?
And one other thing is, we are the only school in Lexington 5 that offers IB, and usually it's very competitive, so it's a real jewel, and that's my goal, is to educate everybody about that.
Mr. Satterfield.
Yeah, I had just a couple. Piggybacking on that with the IB, are our numbers staying pretty consistent? I mean, I know that they've fluctuated over the years. When they first started it, there was a lot of folks involved with IB. I mean, how many students are in, do you know how many students are in IB now?
I'm not exactly sure of the exact number, I can get it, but what I can tell you is that you're right. It has fluctuated over the last several years. One of the issues there is the program begins in the 11th grade. So it's easier when I say capture students at a 9th grade, because a lot of times once they're at a particular school, they don't want to switch. And that's where we worked very hard, and we came up with our pathway so that we can capture students that are coming through a pathway and get them in the 9th grade at Irmo High School. And then the career-related program is another new one. So from within, we've already built that program to 40-something students, and our This Is Escalaris has a lot of interest this year. So that's the foundation. So we hope to get our numbers back to what they were, and you are right.
Do you think location has anything to do with that? I mean, are you getting a lot of kids from Dutch Fork? Or are you getting, like you had on your
Showing the breakdown.
with the Spring Hill, they were pretty equal as far
Right.
as percentages.
No, one of the things that we don't get a lot of students from outside the zone, but one thing it does do is we will have students that often might choose to leave their home school and choice to another school. So it's just as important that we try to keep our home zone kids home. So having this opportunity at Irmo is a wonderful opportunity for those students and for the families in the community that move in. And we do have a lot of, when I say a lot, I could get the numbers, but there's families that move in, a lot of them might teach at the university, and they choose to live here. They're very familiar with the IB program because, again, it was started overseas with diplomats, is how it started. So they are very familiar with that type of universal education that you're going to get, and it's the same curriculum from one state to another. So a lot of times people move in, and that's an attraction.
Right. Now, second question I had, and I may have brought this up before, and I think we had another discussion about magnet schools earlier. Do we provide transportation with regards to elementary kids getting, if they choose a different magnet, or is that up to the parents?
It's half and half. And I say that because originally we did not. We offered a hub situation, for instance, for Spring Hill, where students can ride there. They go to their home zone school, then they catch a bus, and they can come to Spring Hill. It's very expensive, as you know, transportation in general. Lots of magnet schools across the country, districts do not provide universal transportation, some do. The federal dollars did not allow us to use it for transportation up until this last cohort. So in 2017, Lex 5, along with only a very few others across the country, took advantage of that. So we put funding in there where we were able to buy 3 additional buses, and we were able to include transportation for those Discover 5 schools, because you can only spend the funding for the particular schools that are identified.
Right.
And our families have taken great advantage of that, and I look over at Mr. Wiseman, they've done a fabulous job, and he can tell you that. So our hope will be to try to utilize a cost-effective way to be able to provide it, because equity, really, to be equitable, we should.
Well, that's what the magnet
Yes.
program is all about.
Yes.
I was on the committee that visited Connecticut's magnet school, and the state provides all transportation.
Right.
And they guarantee you transportation within 50-mile radius of any magnet school that you wanted to go to. And my last question is, this might be more for Mr. Ross, I noticed that Spring Hill is the high school career pathways magnet. Do we not do IGPs at every high school still, or with the school to work? Is that still a thing or not?
Yeah, we're still required to do IGPs at all schools. When Spring Hill, you may want to speak to this, the
Yeah,
career
either
pathways.
one. It's a career pathways model because with its proximity to the center, when it was thought and designed and created, it allowed ninth grade students to be able to go to the center where normally it's 10th and or 11th as something to make it unique. And those students have 5 different career academies is the way Spring Hill is structured. And most of those kids come in and then they have a pathway to completion in that particular career. So that was the premise behind that. But all schools have access to the center, and all schools do have, the opportunity. Okay? One quick thing I just wanted to say about Connecticut, because I love Connecticut. That's good news, bad news. They provide that state transportation because they're under court order because they were sued. So that's why they do that. So it's a great thing, but they.
Interesting.
But that's if you're going to offer by
Yeah.
design, but they have little townships side by side.
Exactly.
And so they had these little mini schools, but it really worked out for them.
No, it is a great thing, and that's what we're trying to do. And like I said, we've got some funding that has helped us, so hopefully we'll make it equitable for all of our community.
Does anyone else have any questions? I have 2 questions. One, you mentioned the grant opportunity at Harbison West, the GT program, and so that would be a whole school magnet program. How does that impact the Escalares program there? Does it, or?
Well, it would still exist, and it would still have its same selection, but what would happen now, because that's just a school within a school, just like the Montessori is a school within a school at H.E. Corley with the leadership magnet. The beauty about the gifts and talents, it would allow identification of some kids that may not be identified through that Escalares track. And it also will build on all the multiple intelligences that are out there that are not just the academic gifts and talents. So it would blend and just enhance what it has to offer.
That's great. My second question is regarding the Harbison West grant opportunity and the Seven Oaks grant opportunity, which I think that is wonderful. When do they usually hear back from, when you apply for a grant, when are the deadlines, and when do you usually get an award?
It's quick. The RFP should be coming out within any day, maybe a week or 2. You have 60 days to write it, so it'll be due either at the end of April, maybe mid-May. Then you get notified. The problem with the fiscal year, you don't get notified till the end of September.
Okay.
But you get notified whether or not you have received the grant. And then you're planning more or less.
So it
You'll-
would start 24, 25?
Right.
Okay.
The next year would be some PD, some training, some getting things ready, and then it would
Be part of the
launch.
next year's
Yeah.
magnet application? Okay.
Right.
Gotcha. Anyone, Mr. Scully?
Just piggybacking onto that, the grant, is that a fully funded grant, or is there a matching component? The grant opportunity, is that
Yeah.
fully funded, or is there a match required?
No, fully funded,
Awesome.
fully funded. Yep.
All right. Thank you so much. We're always learning a lot about our magnet programs, and I see Mr. English here in the audience. Mr. English, how many nations are represented at Seven Oaks right now?
Our best approximation is
26 countries. And when you visit Seven Oaks, you go into their activity room, you see they update the flags, as Ms. Wheeler said. So 26 countries to be represented in one building. We are excited about the opportunity for this grant here. So great job. And so as I'll conclude with, as always, our priorities as identified in our annual report of our top 3 challenges that we see in School District 5, the growth and mental health issues, And so to have our social workers here today dealing with that on the front line, we certainly appreciate it. The challenges that we have to meet those grade level proficiencies and then the growth of student enrollment in Chapin schools and the growing facility needs in Irmo. But each of these challenges gives us an opportunity to look at a social emotional learning program for the district, to connect every student with a trusted adult for academics and maximize our world-class honors programs. And that's kind of what we're talking about today with our magnet programs. And also to create a 5-year master facilities plan for equity and access for all students. So, Madam Chair, members of the board, that is our D5 story, and that concludes the superintendent's report, and we stand for any questions.
Do we have any questions for Dr. Ross? All right, thank you, Dr. Ross.